Naomi inherited her parents' company after they died in a car accident. She was only 22, yet she carried the weight with grace. When she married Daniel, her childhood love, she trusted him so deeply that she handed the company over to him to manage. From the outside, people admired them. They lived in a grand house, drove fine cars, and appeared at events looking like the perfect couple. But behind closed doors, Naomi cried herself to sleep every night. For 7 long years, no child came. At first, Daniel comforted her. He would rub her back and whisper in the dark, "Don't cry, my love." She would turn to him with swollen eyes and ask, "But Daniel, what if I can never give you a child?" He would hold her chin gently, forcing her to look at him, and say, "Then we will still have each other. You are enough for me." Naomi clung to those words. She repeated them to herself each time people asked why she had no children yet. She carried them like a shield whenever whispers filled the air around her. Daniel was her safe place, her strength. But love, no matter how pure, has a way of bending under pressure. The years went by. The same bed, the same tears, the same silence of an empty crib. Naomi's hope thinned like threads stretched too far. Daniel's comfort grew weaker. At family gatherings, Naomi noticed the way Daniel's relatives looked at her, their eyes sliding to her stomach as though searching for what was not there. They asked harmless questions with poisoned edges. "Naomi, how is your health? Are you eating well? When will we hear good news?" At first, she smiled politely and brushed it away. But the stares grew sharper with every passing year. The louder whispers finally turned into open words, and no one carried that fire louder than Daniel's mother. One evening, Naomi prepared a meal with her own hands, pounded yam and egusi soup, Daniel's favorite. She arranged the table carefully, hoping it would bring peace. When the food was served, Mama Daniel picked up her spoon, took a bite, and dropped it hard against the plate. She shook her head slowly and hissed. 7 years, Naomi. 7 years you have been in this house. Where is the child? Naomi's hands trembled. She knelt quickly, her voice shaking. "Mama, please. God will do it. We are still waiting on him." Mama Daniel leaned back, her eyes burning. "Waiting? Huh. You are wasting my son's youth. Every day you sit here, eating and pretending to be a wife. What kind of woman are you?" Naomi's throat tightened. She looked at Daniel, who sat in silence, pushing his food around with his spoon. Her eyes pleaded with him. "Daniel, will you not say something?" But Daniel kept his eyes down and muttered softly, "Mama only wants the best for us." The words hit Naomi harder than the insult. She whispered, "The best." Her voice cracked. "Do you not see what she is saying to me?" Mama Daniel slammed her hand on the table. "If you were wise, Daniel, you would have married another wife by now. A woman who can give us children. A real family." The words hung in the air like smoke, choking Naomi. Tears spilled down her cheeks, but she wiped them quickly, refusing to let them see her break completely. She stood slowly, her knees weak, and excused herself from the table. Her legs carried her to the bedroom, but her heart felt like stone in her chest. That night, as Daniel lay beside her, Naomi turned to him. Her voice was low, almost a whisper. "Daniel, am I not enough for you?" He closed his eyes and sighed. He didn't answer. Naomi touched his arm gently. "Say something, please." But still, silence. The quiet was worse than words. It screamed louder than any insult. It told Naomi what she feared most, that her husband was beginning to believe what his mother had always said. In the darkness, Naomi pressed her face into the pillow, her tears soaking the fabric. Her chest shook as she tried to cry without sound. For the first time since they married, she felt utterly alone. And in that silence, a shadow entered her heart, the shadow of fear that her place in this home was no longer secure. On a bright Sunday afternoon, Naomi hosted her two closest friends, Vera and Lisa. The women had been inseparable since their university days, sharing secrets, tears, and laughter. Now, as wives, their gatherings were filled with stories of marriage, children, and the struggles of life. Naomi, dressed elegantly in a flowing gown, welcomed them with a smile. She moved gracefully around the sitting room, carrying a tray of drinks. Lisa sighed deeply, her eyes tired. Naomi, your home is like paradise. Sometimes I wish my life was half as peaceful as yours. Naomi smiled faintly. Don't say that. Every home has its challenges. Challenges. Lisa shook her head. At least Daniel loves you. My husband doesn't love me, he controls me. He beats me, Naomi. Last week, he almost broke my arm. Her voice cracked, and she quickly wiped her tears. Naomi's heart clenched, but she kept her composure. She reached out and squeezed Lisa's hand gently. Lisa, you are strong. One day, things will change. Vera, who had been quietly watching, let out a dry laugh. At least you have someone to cry to. My husband is always buried in work. He doesn't even look at me anymore. I dress up, I cook, I try everything, but it's like I don't exist to him. Naomi sat back, listening. She dared not reveal her own emptiness, her sleepless nights, her longing for a child. To them, she and Daniel were the perfect couple, successful, loving, and admired by everyone. She could not break that illusion. Instead, she gave them the smile of a woman who carried no worries. Marriage is never perfect, my sisters. But we must endure. Love requires patience. Lisa looked at her, admiration shining in her eyes. Naomi, you're lucky. Daniel treats you like a queen. Sometimes I pray to have a husband like yours. Vera's gaze lingered on Naomi, her lips curling into a faint smile. Yes, you're blessed. Your life is the dream many of us want. A handsome husband, wealth, respect, no wonder people envy you. Naomi shifted uncomfortably, but she kept her voice steady. Don't envy me. Just pray for your homes, and God will answer. As the afternoon wore on, they laughed, shared old memories, and teased each other. To the outside eye, they were three happy women enjoying sisterhood. But beneath the surface, envy stirred. Lisa's eyes held longing, wishing for peace like Naomi's. Vera's eyes held something darker, a quiet curiosity, a hunger she dared not speak aloud. When they finally left, Naomi stood by the window, watching them drive away. Her smile faded. Alone again, she sank onto the couch, her shoulders heavy. Her friends thought her marriage was perfect. But only Naomi knew the truth, that behind the walls of her mansion, perfection was a mask she wore every single day. Daniel sat in the study, flipping through company reports. His face looked calm, but his mind was restless. Every number, every profit recorded, carried Naomi's name, yet the world believed it was his doing. At first, the thought filled him with pride. Now, it weighed on him like a stone. Naomi walked in quietly, holding a cup of tea. You've been working all evening. Drink something, she said softly. Daniel didn't look up. Leave it there. She placed the cup beside him and hesitated. Daniel, are you okay? You hardly talk to me anymore. Finally, he raised his eyes. Naomi, I'm tired of the questions. Do you think I don't have enough on my mind? Her lips parted, but no words came. She nodded slowly and walked out, her heart heavy. That night, she lay beside him in bed, staring at the ceiling. Daniel turned to his side, his back facing her. The distance between them felt wider than the ocean. The following week, Naomi invited Vera and Lisa again for lunch. She needed laughter, even if it was borrowed. Lisa came in first, talking about her husband's anger. Naomi listened patiently, nodding. Vera, however, said little. Her eyes roamed the house, the polished floors, the sparkling chandelier, the gold-rimmed glasses on the dining table. Everything screamed wealth. And Daniel, sitting at the far end of the room, looked like a king in his castle. Vera leaned toward Naomi, her voice sweet. Naomi, your husband is so lucky. Not many men can handle wealth and still look this humble. Naomi chuckled lightly. Daniel is hardworking. I thank God for him. Daniel looked up briefly, meeting Vera's eyes. Something unspoken passed between them, a look too quick for Naomi to notice. Later that night, Naomi tried to reach out again. She sat close to Daniel. Daniel, do you still love me? He sighed. Naomi, why do you always ask me that? Of course, I love you. But love doesn't put children in this house. My mother is right, we've tried for years. What if nothing changes? Naomi's chest tightened. So you're saying I'm the problem? Daniel looked away. I didn't say that. But how long do we wait? 10 years. 15. Tears stung her eyes, but she held them back. Daniel, don't let anyone put these thoughts in your head. We are one. Your pain is my pain. Don't push me away. He didn't answer. Silence filled the room, thick and bitter. At that same moment, Vera sat in her own home, her husband snoring softly beside her. She stared at the ceiling, her mind restless. Her lips curled into a faint smile as she whispered to herself, if Naomi doesn't know how blessed she is, maybe someone else will remind her husband. And just like that, a dangerous seed was planted. One evening, Naomi hosted a small dinner for her friends. Daniel joined them at the table, but his mind seemed elsewhere. He spoke little, only nodding when spoken to. Lisa chatted endlessly, trying to cover her sadness with jokes. Vera, on the other hand, observed in silence. She noticed the way Daniel avoided Naomi's eyes, the way his smile faded quickly. After the meal, Naomi excused herself to the kitchen. Lisa followed to help her. That left Daniel and Vera alone in the living room. Vera leaned back on the sofa, her eyes glinting. Daniel, she said softly, Naomi is lucky to have you. Not every man would stand by a woman for this long. Daniel glanced at her, his jaw tight. What do you mean? Vera tilted her head, her voice smooth. 7 years without a child, most men would have listened to their mothers by now. But you've been patient. That's rare. Daniel exhaled heavily, rubbing his temples. Patience has limits, Vera. People think I have it all, but inside, it's not what they see. Her lips curved into a small smile. I understand more than you think. She leaned closer, her voice dropping lower. Marriage isn't always what it looks like. Sometimes a woman can give the world to her husband, and still, he feels empty. Daniel looked at her, his eyes searching. And what do you know about emptiness? Vera held his gaze. More than I should. The sound of Naomi's laughter drifted in from the kitchen. Daniel quickly looked away, adjusting his seat. Vera smirked, her words already planted like seeds in his heart. Later that night, Naomi lay beside Daniel in bed. She rested her head on his chest, whispering, I love you, Daniel. No matter what happens, you are my everything. He stared at the ceiling, silent. His hand touched her shoulder briefly, but his mind was elsewhere, replaying Vera's words. The next week, Naomi traveled briefly to inspect one of the company's branches. Daniel stayed behind. On her second evening away, Vera called him. Daniel, I was passing by, thought I should check on you. Are you alone? Yes, he replied slowly. Minutes later, Vera arrived at the house with a dish in her hand. "I cooked," she said with a smile. "Naomi works too hard. You deserve someone to care for you too." Daniel hesitated, then let her in. They ate together, their conversation flowing more easily than it had in months with Naomi. Vera laughed at his jokes, touched his arm lightly as she spoke. Daniel didn't stop her. When she stood to leave, she leaned close, her lips brushing his ear. "Daniel, some women don't know the treasure they have. If she won't give you what you need, another woman will." Daniel froze, his heart pounding. He didn't push her away. And just like that, temptation crossed its first line. The rain poured heavily that Friday night. Naomi was still away on business, her absence stretching longer than Daniel liked. He sat in the living room, restless, a glass of wine in his hand. A knock came at the door. When he opened it, Vera stood there, soaked from the rain, clutching an umbrella. "Daniel," she said softly, "I was nearby. The rain caught me. Can I come in?" He hesitated, but stepped aside. "Come in." She slipped inside, her dress damp, clinging to her skin. Daniel tried not to look, but his eyes betrayed him. "I'll get you a towel," he muttered. "No need," she replied, her voice low. "I don't want to trouble you." They sat in silence for a while, the sound of rain filling the room. Then Vera spoke. "Daniel, do you know why I come here?" He glanced at her. "To see Naomi, of course." She shook her head slowly. "No. I come because I see the man Naomi takes for granted." Daniel stiffened. "Stop, Vera. She doesn't take me for granted." Vera leaned closer, her eyes burning into his. "Then why are you unhappy? Why do you sit here night after night with a wife who gives you nothing but tears? You deserve more." "Vera," his voice cracked, but he couldn't finish. Her hand brushed his. "You don't have to pretend with me. I see your pain. I feel it too." Daniel tried to pull back, but his body betrayed him. His breathing grew shallow as Vera moved closer, her perfume filling the air. "Naomi will never give you what you need," Vera whispered. "But I can." And before he could protest again, her lips pressed against his. For a moment, Daniel froze. Then, as if something inside him snapped, he kissed her back. The wine glass slipped from his hand, shattering on the floor. The rain outside grew louder, drowning the sound of betrayal inside. The next morning, Daniel woke in shame, his arm draped over Vera. He sat up quickly, guilt twisting in his chest. This can't happen again," he muttered, his voice harsh. Vera smirked, pulling the blanket around her. "You can lie to yourself, Daniel. But last night proves it, you want me." He shook his head. "I love Naomi. I can't." "You already did," Vera interrupted, her tone sharp. "And you will again. Stop fighting it." Daniel buried his face in his hands. For the first time in years, he felt like the walls of Naomi's perfect world were closing in. Meanwhile, Naomi returned that afternoon, carrying gifts for Daniel, her heart full of love. She walked into the house smiling, unaware that the foundation of her marriage had already cracked. As she entered the living room, Vera's faint perfume still lingered in the air. Naomi inhaled deeply, then frowned. "Strange, the house smells different." Daniel turned quickly, forcing a smile. "You must be imagining things." But Naomi's instinct stirred, warning her that something unseen had shifted in her home. At first, Naomi ignored it. Daniel had always been busy, always working late at the office. But after her return from the company trip, his habits changed in ways she couldn't overlook. One night, she waited for him at the dining table. The food sat untouched, candles burning low. By 10 p.m., the gate finally opened. Daniel walked in, smelling faintly of alcohol. Daniel, Naomi said softly, you're late again. I called, but you didn't answer. He loosened his tie without looking at her. I was in a meeting. My phone died. Naomi stared at him. At this hour. Every night. He snapped, Naomi, must I explain everything? Isn't it enough that I'm out there working for us? She went silent, swallowing her pain. Days later, she noticed his phone habits had changed. Daniel, who once left his phone lying anywhere, now kept it close, even when he went to bed. At night, she heard faint buzzing. He would grab the phone quickly, step out of the room, and return minutes later with a forced smile. One evening, she asked gently, Daniel, who keeps calling you so late? He frowned. Company matters. Don't start acting paranoid. Paranoid, she whispered, her eyes stinging. You've changed. I feel it. Daniel turned away. Stop imagining things, Naomi. Not everything is about you. Naomi tried to keep herself busy, but the signs grew louder. Daniel started dressing differently, new colognes, polished shoes, shirts she hadn't seen before. She teased one evening, forcing a laugh. My husband is now a fashion model. He adjusted his cufflinks, avoiding her eyes. I like to look good. Is that a crime? Naomi's smile faded. The man she once knew so well now felt like a stranger. The final blow came one Saturday. Daniel told her he had a business conference out of town. Naomi believed him, but when she visited the office later that day, one of the junior staff casually mentioned, Madam, I thought Olga traveled with you. Her heart dropped. Traveled? Where? The staff quickly covered his mouth, realizing his mistake. Oh, sorry, Ma. I must have mixed it up. Naomi walked out, her hands trembling. For the first time, doubt became certainty. Daniel was hiding something, and it wasn't business. That night, she sat alone in the bedroom, staring at the untouched side of the bed. She whispered to herself, the man I gave everything to, what is he hiding from me? Her tears fell silently, staining the pillow. She had no proof yet, but the signs were undeniable. And in her heart, Naomi knew her marriage was slipping away, piece by piece. Naomi had ignored the whispers in her heart for too long. Daniel's late nights, Vera's sudden distance, the awkward silences when they all met as friends, it all formed a pattern she didn't want to admit. One Friday night, Daniel left the house, claiming he had a board meeting. Naomi waited 30 minutes, then followed quietly. Her chest pounded as she trailed his car across the city until he pulled up at a small apartment complex. Naomi parked a distance away and watched. Daniel knocked, and the door swung open. Standing there, hair loose, wearing a silk nightgown, was Vera. Naomi's blood ran cold. She watched as Daniel stepped inside. He didn't hesitate. Vera kissed him like she had been waiting all day. Naomi's legs moved on their own, carrying her forward. Her hand pushed the door open, and the scene froze. Daniel. Vera. Her voice was sharp enough to slice glass. Vera gasped, pulling away. Naomi. Daniel's face went pale. Naomi, it's not. Naomi raised a trembling finger at them. Don't you dare. Don't you dare tell me it's not what it looks like. My own friend. Vera. After all the nights you sat in my house, eating my food, laughing with me. Vera's lips quivered. Naomi, please. Shut up. Naomi's voice broke. Tears streamed down her cheeks, but her anger burned hotter. You betrayed me in the worst way. You knew my pain. You knew my struggles. And this is what you chose. Daniel stepped forward, hands out. Naomi, listen. It just happened. I was weak. Naomi slapped his hand away. Weak. You call years of sneaking, lying, and touching another woman weak. And Vera, she turned sharply, you left your husband, a man who loved you, for this. Vera's eyes filled with tears, but her voice was barely a whisper. Naomi. I'm pregnant. The room spun. Naomi staggered back, clutching her chest. Pregnant. Her voice cracked, trembling. With Daniel's child. Daniel shut his eyes, guilt written all over his face. Naomi's scream filled the apartment. God. After all these years, after all my tears, you do this to me. Her sobs shook her body, but her words were ice. Daniel, from today, you are no husband of mine. Vera, you are no friend of mine. Both of you, get out of my father's house. Out of my life. Daniel tried to grab her again. Naomi, please, don't end it like this. She stepped back, glaring at both of them. It ended the moment you chose betrayal over love. You disgust me. Her heels clicked hard against the floor as she stormed out, leaving silence and shame behind. Kelvin returned from a 2-week business trip, tired but eager to see his wife. As his taxi pulled into the driveway, his heart skipped. The front door was open, and 2 suitcases sat on the porch. He rushed inside. Vera. She appeared from the bedroom, dragging another bag. Her face was tense, her eyes avoiding his. Kelvin froze. What's going on? Why are your things packed? Vera sighed heavily, not meeting his eyes. Kelvin. I can't do this anymore. I'm leaving. Kelvin dropped his briefcase. Leaving? For what? For who? Talk to me. Vera finally looked at him, her voice sharp. You don't get it, do you? You've been too busy with work, too busy chasing contracts and meetings. You forgot you had a wife. You left me lonely. Kelvin's jaw tightened. Lonely? Vera, I worked my bones off to give us a good life. Everything I do is for us, for you. She folded her arms. I needed a husband, not a provider. Someone who would look at me, hold me, talk to me. Not a man who comes home late, tired, and distracted. Kelvin stepped closer, eyes searching hers. So what are you saying? You found someone else. Vera hesitated, her silence louder than any words. Kelvin's voice cracked. Answer me, Vera. Who is it? Her lips trembled. Daniel. The word stopped. Kelvin staggered back, gripping the wall for balance. Daniel. Naomi's husband. My friend. His voice rose in disbelief. You betrayed me, with him. Vera's eyes shone with defiance and shame. He gave me what you couldn't, attention. He saw me. Kelvin's chest heaved. Attention. You threw away our marriage, our vows, for cheap attention. Vera, I loved you. I gave you everything. And this is how you repay me. Tears finally streamed down her face. I'm pregnant, Kelvin. His heart shattered at the words. His hands shook as he pointed at the suitcases. So you're leaving me? For him. She whispered, I have no choice. Kelvin's voice thundered, broken and raw. No choice. You had a choice every single day, to honor your marriage or destroy it. And you chose betrayal. You chose to burn everything we built. Vera turned away, picking up her bag. I can't stay. Kelvin's shoulders sank, his voice dropping to a whisper. Then go. But don't you dare think this ends well for you. The same man you betrayed me with, will betray you too. Vera paused, her hand on the doorknob, but said nothing. She stepped out, leaving Kelvin standing in the ruins of the life they once shared. Lisa stormed into Naomi's home that morning, her phone pressed to her chest, eyes wide with shock. Naomi, please, Don't tell me it's true, she pleaded, grabbing Naomi's hands. Don't say Daniel betrayed you with Vera. Naomi's face was pale, but her eyes burned with controlled anger. She shook her head slowly. Lisa, it's true. I saw them. I trusted him, and he destroyed everything. Lisa sank into the couch, covering her face. I can't believe it. Daniel. Vera. How could they? Naomi stood, her voice sharp, cold. Lisa. I gave him my life, my father's company, my trust, and he threw it away. But no more. She walked into the study, slammed the door behind her, and ripped the papers off the table. Contracts, ownership certificates, everything Daniel had managed now bore her signature again. She had taken back the company. When Daniel returned home, expecting Naomi to plead with him as always, he found the house silent. The study door opened, and Naomi stood there, composed, her hands on her hips. Daniel, she said, her voice cutting, your time here is over. Every asset you managed, every penny you thought was yours, belongs to me again. You have nothing. Leave. Daniel's face went pale. Naomi, wait. Please. We can fix this. Fix it. Naomi laughed bitterly, shaking her head. Fix it. You've destroyed every trust one had in you. You are done. Out. He tried to reach for her, but she stepped back, cold and unyielding. I trusted you with everything. And now? You have nothing. Not my company. Not my home. Not me. Daniel staggered out of the house, humiliated, powerless. For the first time in years, he had nothing. Desperate, he called Vera, hoping she would provide comfort. He found her at a cafe, trying to calm her swelling belly. Vera. I'm ruined. I have nothing left, he said, voice shaking. Vera's face paled as she processed his words. Nothing. What do you mean? Naomi took everything back. The house, the company. I'm broke, he admitted, his pride shattered. Vera's lips trembled. She sank into a chair, her hands shaking. Daniel. I thought we'd have it all. I left everything for you, for this, and now you have nothing. Nothing. How could it end like this? He looked at her, desperate, expecting her to console him. But Vera's eyes filled with tears, not for him, but for herself. I left my husband, my home, everything, she whispered. For what, Daniel? For a man with nothing. Daniel opened his mouth, but no words came. He realized that both of them were crushed by their choices. The cafe felt cold, empty. Vera's pregnancy, his lost fortune, the betrayal, they had nothing left but shame and regret. Months had passed since Naomi threw Daniel out and reclaimed her company. The scandal had rocked the city, but Naomi's resilience had turned the tables. Her company, once mismanaged, now thrived under her leadership. Investors trusted her vision, employees respected her decisions, and Naomi herself had found a renewed sense of purpose. One sunny morning, the door to her office opened. Lisa stepped in, her two children in tow, looking both nervous and hopeful. Naomi's face brightened instantly. Naomi! Lisa exclaimed, rushing forward. I finally took control of my life. I left everything behind, the neglect, the lies. I'm free, and I want my kids to grow up in a home filled with love and strength. Naomi hugged her tightly. Lisa, I'm so proud of you. You fought through so much, and you didn't let anyone break you. You're strong, just like I knew you were. Lisa smiled, her eyes shining with gratitude. Thank you, and I want to do more than survive. I want to thrive. That's why I'm here. I want to work with you, Naomi. I want to learn from you, help you, and build something meaningful. Naomi's eyes softened. Lisa, I can't think of anyone better to have by my side. You know this world, and you know people. I want you to be my assistant, my right hand. Together, we'll make sure no one ever walks over us again. Lisa's smile widened. I won't let you down. And my kids, they'll see that strong women can rise, no matter what life throws at them. Meanwhile, Daniel, now completely broke, wandered the city in desperation. He went to Vera's apartment, hoping at least she would provide comfort. Vera. I have nothing. The company, the house. Naomi took everything back. I'm ruined, he said, voice trembling. Vera, sitting on the edge of her small sofa, clutching her belly, shook her head. Daniel. I left my husband for you, thinking we could start a life together. And now you're nothing. We are nothing. I have no home, no security, and you're broke. This is all our doing. He sank into the chair beside her, finally realizing the full weight of their betrayal. I thought we'd win. I thought Naomi would forgive me eventually. Vera's tears fell silently. No, Daniel. You have nothing left. And I have to face the consequences of leaving everything behind. Back at her office, Naomi stood by the window, watching the city below. Lisa worked beside her, organizing schedules, checking reports, and sharing ideas. The office hummed with energy, a symbol of their combined strength. Naomi spoke softly but firmly. Lisa, we've both been through betrayal, pain, and lies. But look at us now. Strong, unstoppable, and in control. Let this be a reminder, no one can take our power unless we give it away. Lisa nodded. Together, we rise higher than ever. And my kids, they'll grow up knowing that strength and loyalty matter more than anything. Outside, the city moved on unaware. But inside, two women had turned heartbreak into power, proving that betrayal might break hearts, but it could never break spirit.
This is Progressive Folktale. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this very captivating story. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on the bell icon so as to be notified whenever we upload a new video. Join our membership so you will always be the first to get notified whenever we make any uploads. And we've uploaded more love stories specially created for our membership subscribers only. Check the description box to join now so you don't miss out. Furthermore, please support us by using the super thanks icon in between remix and download icon down below. Lastly, rate this story on a scale of 1 to 10. And don't forget to tell me where you're watching this video from. I am going to see you in another video. Bye bye.